I think what I've got to talk to you about today is so important in terms of where we're coming from as an industry. I want to talk to you about the Hotel Charter. I should have some slides coming up, and he's probably telling me I can do this myself. Do I have my first slide? Slide? No? Oh, there we go. Fantastic. So, what I want to talk to you today about is our wonderful industry. And I got to say to you that I am very, very passionate about what I'm about as an operator. I run a hotel, the Radisson Red at Heathrow Airport, 900 rooms, and I am a little bit stressed at the moment, and that's probably a little understatement. But what I want to be able to say to you is that I want you to be in the room with me for the next less than 10 minutes, Peter. Watch the time. I want you to think about, there was a question this morning, a gentleman asked, what would the government do to sort out service? What are the issues that they can help attribute? I'm going to ask you today for a commitment. I want you to think about, when you leave here today, will you do one thing for me? And at the end of this conversation, I'm going to ask you to do 1% more for our industry. There's actually 300 people sat in this room today. There's 460 people on the attendee list. If every one of us does 1% more to help and support our industry, we will be able to do and solve the issues that we've got. So what's the Charter all about? So the Charter exists because we want to raise the profile of our industry. We want to be proud of what we do. I'm a father of 5 children. I should have probably had a television before you say anything. I'm very proud. The eldest is 16 and the youngest is 10. 2 boys, 3 girls. I love them to pieces. One of the things they used to say to me, Dad, what time will you be home at? Will I see you at the weekend? The Hotel Charter was created by Sally Beck. Sally came up with the concept. I'm the chairperson of the West London Hotels Association, and we knocked around, well, what should this look like? And we've come up with 10 points. 10 points that I believe are actually very simple, but fundamental to what we want to be about as an industry. And we want to get away with this stigma about what we seem to be. And at this moment in time, I've got to say to you, we are at a pivotal point, our industry. If we are going to change people's perceptions, we now need to do it now. I am tired of having to go out and justify what my business is about. We have created the Charter in 2020. There's some phenomenal companies that are prepared to support us. We've got the likes of the Master Inn Holders, and an amazing organisation. We've got UK Hospitality, St. Julian Scholars, the Institute of Hospitality, the AA. Now, they're nice groups of people, but you, us, we're in this together, right? Yes? Yeah, can I have a bit of a reaction, please? We're all in the room. Okay, thank you, Peter. In terms of our mission, I want to focus on respect, fairness, equality, diversity, opportunity. We want to talk about wellness. The gentleman that we had earlier on, our industry, and you may not be directly operationally running businesses, but you are all benefiting from it. We are all in this together. Without me and my hotel, the facilities that all of you guys are providing, we wouldn't have a business, we wouldn't have an industry. These elements are so simple, yet so basic, and have been abused historically. We've seen this. We've experienced it. Now, I actually feel very blessed today and very fortunate. I'm going to tell you why. Because in terms of the commitments, these 10 commitments, the first commitment is that we want to create roles that are seen as careers. My first job as a trainee manager was with a gentleman who sat right there. Imperial Hotel in Torquay, many years ago, this gentleman was the general manager. And I used to walk around, and I'm not trying to get anything from him right now because he's done everything he's needed to do. But his interaction with guests, and this is over sort of 30 years ago, was phenomenal. He was well known for it. Today, I started as a trainee, and I'm running a business that's over £25 million in turnover, 900 rooms, 42 meeting rooms, and I've got 5 lovely children out of a beautiful wife, and I'm saying to them, kids, if you want to work hard, there's an opportunity and there's a career in our industry. And when I speak to their friends, and they look at the hospitality world, my big plea to them is that, listen, you can have a career out of this. We want to talk about respect and work-life balance. There's a gentleman in the room, I won't name him, but we talked today at lunchtime, and he was saying to me that he's gone into consultancy. He didn't have a life when he was working in our industry. Now, I know what that's like. And if I'm honest with you at the moment, I'm probably working harder than I've ever worked. And if you speak to some of my colleagues on the front line, they are working harder than they've ever worked. And we're trying to create an environment whereby people get respected and people get really well looked after. We talk about financial and pension support. We've got to help people plan for the future. Because what we've experienced in the last 24 months has been absolutely horrendous. I made 150 people redundant. I had people who had worked for 15, 20, 25 years. That broke my heart. And in terms of making sure that they were okay, these elements we must ensure as we grow our businesses and work together that we do this. The fairness and transparency in service charge. The business I currently operate turns over, just restaurant and bars, £5 million. Now, if I can grow that by 10% and I can share some of the spoils of that with my frontline people, that should be happy days. It's win-win for me, it's win-win for them. We've got to be able to get to a point whereby somebody is taking home 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pounds an hour. And if it's on the back of success, well, that makes sense. Now, we know lots of examples of whereby people haven't shared the trunks, and I've seen it. In fact, I met a lady recently in Birmingham, a law student, right? There was 15% on the check. I said to her, how much do you get of the 15%? Her take on the 15 was 10%. Right? So on a £100 bill, they were taking 15. Yeah, and then she's getting £1.50 out of 15. Not fair, not right. So what we're wanting to do is make sure that when it comes to employee assistance, so where it's wellness, counselling, support, whatever it may be that they are encountering, we have to be not just an employer, but it's a family. We are looking after people and people's welfare. If they come to work and we can help them be successful in their own lives, and they're happy at work and they're happy at home, right? We've got a lot of positives going on. Number 6, if you cut me open, I am actually Mr. Positivity, right? I do find it hard every day to get up and be like that, but I do know that behavior breeds behavior. And when I walk into my business, and if I give off the wrong attitude, well, what does that say to my people? And I say to my guys, if we are to be successful, this is like a marriage. Our marriage, in terms of the time I spend at work, is actually more time than I do with my family at home, right? And they laugh. And I think to them, and I say to them, in the business I'm currently operating, there's at this moment in time about 100 people. I think it's hugely important that we get this environment at work, and whether it's, I had a chat with my chef recently, and I said to him, listen, I would like to be able to provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and if a member of my team wants to come in and eat 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, do you know what? I actually do not have a problem with that. We hear about the likes of Google and all these other entities that are doing this already. Why should it take us so long to catch up? In fact, what do I do every day in my business? I provide food. If I can't do it and we can't do it, Houston, we've got a serious problem. Charities and community. Community is so important in terms of what we should be able to do in the world that we're working in. And the fact that I've got 900 rooms, I know that I have rooms some nights that are not being used. Well, what can I do to help others? And I'm in discussion with a homeless charity at the moment. There's Hospitality Action. Mark Lewis is doing an immense job. And over this last 24 months, there are so many people that haven't got employment, that have been through such difficult times, and actually confidence. People's confidence have been shattered. And I'm sure if we were all to be honest with ourselves, we're all probably a little tired. And we've got to stay positive and we've got to stay motivated. Sustainability and environment. We talk about loads of things, and Peter, I know there's 20 seconds on the clock, so I'll be very quick. In terms of advocacy, in terms of diversity and inclusion, there's a whole element around being a good employer and making sure that when it comes to the Modern Day Slavery Act, and in terms of suppliers, where we get product from, we have got to be very careful about where it comes from. And just because it's a cheap price doesn't always mean that it's right. Just in terms of the panels, we've got an Education Advisory Board, a Sustainability Forum. With the Education Advisory Board, we're wanting to work with colleges. We want to be known for placements for graduates coming into our industry, that they are going to have a phenomenal experience, a great experience, that they are going to go out and tell their friends about it. This is hugely important. I went to a hotel college myself. I am a big advocate of taking on graduates, but you don't actually have to be a graduate. My belief is that you have the right kind of attitude, we should then open a door. And I think what you'll find is that there's so many of us that have been able to grow in our industry and get to positions of responsibility because we're keen, and we should be able to give opportunities to people. Just in terms of how to get involved, visit the Hotel Charter website, please. What we've looked at here is those 10 commitments. You've got to believe those 10 commitments. Part of the West London hotels is that you join up, but if you don't agree to the 10 or you won't commit to the 10, then don't be part of our business. I don't want to know you. I'm sure you're a nice individual, but if you don't want to get involved and commit to those 10, then there's no point. There is no point. And this is what I'm going to say to you. This 1%, if you could go out of this room today and tomorrow, you take 1% of a better approach to the people you're dealing with, that's 460% will be better. In 10 days, 4,600%. So in terms of what we're looking for, guys, and ladies, this is a no-brainer. And we have got to get this right. We talked about general managers and owners of hotels. Now, there's an opportunity for supporters, which I'll come to in a second. It's the last slide. I would say to you is that we want to put like-minded people together. And I know in this room today, there are like-minded people from the people I've spoken with. This is really, really important. I would say to you, from a point of becoming a supporter, and we need supporters, so there's opportunities for those supporters in exchange. And it's been funded via supporters, and it's been supported via the hotel community, that there's an opportunity for you to join, support. If you want to get involved with packages, you want to reach out to suppliers, brands, the doors are open. But fundamentally, what I just would like to say is that, and Harry, you started it off today, and you talked about, actually I wrote it down because I keep getting it mixed up in my head, battered but not broken. We're battered and very battered, but we're not broken. Thank you very much. Believe.
Edward Bracken, thank you.